welcome to Raise Sensation. I'm your host, Dan, and in this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at some books on a subject that I've already done several videos about, but this is going to be my final word on these books covering the covers of the sexy, violent Italian horror comics. Until the next one. Okay, so here is the first of the comics I'm going to look at. This one is called Night Witch, and it's published by Power Comics. There's been several publishers that have used the name Power Comics. There's one that I think is still going strong. I looked at it. It's not really what, when I use the term Power Comics, it's more in line with the Power Comics channel. You know, you can watch a video I did on that, or go to the Power Comics channel and watch that. So we're not talking about any of these publishers. This, I believe, is the only comic I have from them. This is number 3, all new 30-page epic. And this seems to conclude a storyline that was going through. You know, I got this, all these are these independent ones here are generally not something I paid full price for. It's something I found cheap, although, you know, obviously this wasn't a biggie to begin with. You know, and I haven't looked to see if any of these are collector's items or anything. I don't think they are. But like I said, these are things I picked up. And there was something I found interesting about all of them at the time that made me pull them out of those bins. And this one is from 1977. So this is before the black and white boom. And it does look more like an underground, or maybe it was inspired by something like The First Kingdom or something like that. You know, there were things like this before the black and white boom. So Night Witch. And one thing is, at the very beginning here, they have a little dialogue here where they're telling the backstory of this character here in modern times, and it talks about the reincarnation and all the fantasy kind of elements. I'm not going to go really too far into this, but there's demon creatures, there's all kinds of... They obviously built some stuff up. It says, check out Power Comics #1 for the full story of the Night Witch's origin. I do not have that. I don't have volume 2 either. Like I said, this is the only one. This was published in 1977 in Michigan. And here it is. She returned to the modern day, but this magician turns up again and is calling her back to the past. Oh no, this isn't the magician. This is the more like a goddess. She's kind of like the main person behind the story that's going on. So our hero gets sucked back to this crazy world full of monsters and stuff. One thing I thought was really interesting was this reminds me a lot of Dr. Peculiar. There's a certain type, you know, and there's this typed up and pasted up dialogue boxes and stuff, lettering. But you know what it really, you know, so that's not totally out of the place in comics, but you know, I had also just been looking through, I found a bunch of Jack Chick tracks in one of my boxes. I might take a look at some of those. I have some really crazy ones. When I was in Pennsylvania, when I was a teen in Pennsylvania, those things used to pop up everywhere. You know, people would be leaving them all around. And then in the 80s, they became kind of, they became a little bit hip. At some point, I'm not sure when, Daniel Klaus did a really, really great parody of them. A couple other people have done parodies, but Daniel Klaus's was really good, and he really captured the flavor and stuff. But, you know, that's what this reminds me of a lot, too. and also because the art, there's a lot of the Jack Chick tracks that have, have Romans and stuff in them. So she's gone back in time. She's captured. There's magic going on. There's also some of these guys in ancient times have gotten themselves hold of weapons, modern weapons like machine guns and pistols and stuff. Our hero gets tossed down these caves. There's an ogre there that wants to eat her. And so, she's down there, and I like this part. The monsters are kind of cool. This monster that might have eaten her, but instead he ends up eating one of his comrades. That's a great little monster face there. There's a two-headed one. Good stuff. She's being helped by a guy who... There's these acolytes of the goddess that has sent her back here, and they wear around these big stone tablets. They carry them around on their backs. These supposedly they can't read them. They don't know the language, but they think it's from their goddess, and so they carry them on their backs all the time. He comes to try and oh, is that one of the acolytes? Or that's one of the bad guys? Yeah, no, this is one of the bad guys, but he's also got one of the stone tablets. So there's good guys and bad guys. Boy, it's been a long time since I read this. Should have reread the whole thing. Oh, here's one of the good guys with the tablets. Somehow she's gotten saved. He's going like, this guy goes, this will take care of her until the flood. He throws a rock to knock her out so she can't fight against the monsters, but then she wakes up, and another guy with the stone tablets on his back has helped her out. Then she has this cosmic vision. Here comes the flood. And see, here's another guy with a machine gun. I think that's the guy who, it's the same guy who threw her in the pit now. Yeah, that's him. So he's trying to put an end to her. They're fighting. He's about to kill her. But this flood comes up, sweeps her off into the waters, and somehow the flood throws up one of those stone tablets and crushes him. And then after the flood, she's managed to survive somehow, and the guy who helped her earlier has washed up, and she goes, let me loosen those straps, because he almost died because he was trying to swim around with this big stone tablet. And then the goddess reappears, and she tells him, these stones don't have anything to do with me, what is this rock nonsense? The guy starts crying, my holy burden nonsense? She throws it in the water. He goes, meaningless. I don't know if he's supposed to, I guess he's just passed out and sleeping there, but it's pretty funny that all this nonsense that was going on in the book turns out to have been for nothing. But anyway, it's a fun little book. The goddess disappears. She sends her back to the present, and then the goddess is like, you go back to a terrible life, Onyx Mora. The terrors, evil, and pain of planet Earth will be upon you, and there shall be no peace for you ever. Farewell, Night Witch. So, and the next issue, The Northern Light. So it looks like, and this is a different character. So I guess the next issue, if it came out, was not about the Night Witch. It's kind of fun. Like I said, it looks interesting. The cartoonist isn't bad. I like the monsters. You know me, love monsters. So there's that. Then Barbarian Women comics. Great cover. Looks really good. This one is published, was published in 1975. I don't remember. I don't see who the publisher is. This one, it's 1975, Bob Sidebottom. And it's Barbarian Women Comics, #1. This is a great power comic kind of thing. Look at the way she's laying on there. It looks like her hands and feet are bound in by this magic that are treating her like manacles. I guess they're keeping her ready for some kind of sex magic thing or something there. I think this is really fun. And then the first part is, this is called Beautiful Woman / Barbarian Woman. And this woman is having a sex dream, so I'm going to go past that kind of quick. It's a kind of hardcore scene there. Her husband, she's really having sex with him, but then she falls asleep, and she has the dream of the husband, or is he? I'm not sure if it's all real or which part of it's real. But anyway, she wakes up and finds him looking over her, and they have sex again. I thought part of this was supposed to be a dream here, though. Yeah. So this woman's, and it takes place in some other society that we don't really know about. That they go over in a couple panels, but then we go to this. He's gotten. One day our way of life was cruelly shattered. My husband was kidnapped by a terrorist gang known as the Slars. And there you see the husband being captured by the Slars. I'm not sure. The Slars, I mean, some of them look like zombies or hippies or something, and some of them look like military kind of guys. Anyway, the Slars get them. Dear capitalist pig, if you want your husband back alive, you must redistribute your entire wealth of Vincent Incorporated, that's the company her husband ran, to the non-productive and poor people of society. So this is an anti-socialism kind of thing. I guess this was a reaction to, I guess these are, that's why some of them look kind of like hippie-ish. So this would be a comic for the conservative underground comics lover. I like this one too. I see one of my husband's ex-employees rushing cheerfully to the handout lines. He shouts and laughs and has no shame for his complicity in this public obscenity where they're giving out freebies, food stamps too. So this is obviously something that the artist in charge here is really against, food stamps and stuff. The police, whose wages are paid with taxes extracted by force from productive citizens like my husband, are impotent to solve the case and save him. And this is obviously trying to imply that the police are gay, or this limp wrist, this kind of shaky look to him, and weird little sunglasses he's wearing. But she goes, with my last funds, I hired a famous private detective to find him. A week later, the detective's body is found at my doorstep, along with a tooth torn from my husband's mouth with pliers. And there's a letter from them on the detective's bodies. So then part 2, Barbarian Woman. So it went from Beautiful Woman, and now just in order to save her husband, she becomes Barbarian Woman. So she has sex with a guy. She's become a prostitute to make her living now, because the working class have stolen, or the non-working class, whatever, have stolen all the money she and her husband had. And so she becomes a prostitute. And then a Slars guy, one of these guys who kidnapped her husband, tries to take the money she earned as a prostitute. He's threatening her with a knife. She takes it from him and stabs it, stuffs it up his ass. And this is what the paper writes. Extra mysterious barbarian whore kills. And she herself becomes a vigilante. She's training in the martial arts, learns guns. On my last night as a whore, I am propositioned by one of my husband's ex-employees, the one who was in the food line, taking the handouts and laughing about what had happened to her husband, who had taken blood food, money, and personal pleasure from our tragedy, and she gouges out his eyes and kills him. And the paper once again, extra barbarian whore strikes again. So then she's infiltrating, and you see that I guess this is supposed to be a woman. This is one of the Slars monsters, and it's got curlers in its hair, and you see it has peace symbols in its nostrils. Some of this art reminds me of like S. Clay Wilson or Spain. So this person really likes the undergrounds and stuff. Just the politics are a little different than those guys had. So she goes in here, and I'm not sure why she has to do it nude, but hey. So she goes in, she slaughters them all single-handedly, and I'll have to hide the sex stuff, don't want to get in trouble. She releases her husband, and they immediately, there among the dead, have sex. Then somehow Trina Robbins got involved in this. She was doing a lot of undergrounds and stuff, so, here she is doing this one. This is about a Viking woman a guy discovers frozen in ice. And this guy thinks like, wow, great. Because he thinks she's so beautiful, she's alive. He really loves her. He falls in love with her. Meanwhile, she just wants to find her husband, because she believes in reincarnation. She believes that he will be out there somewhere. So this guy takes her back. She becomes a media star. Who doesn't love a beautiful woman that's been frozen from ice? She finds a guy that looks exactly like her husband, working in movies or TV or whatever. And so they get together, but he's a no good. He's one of those Hollywood no good nicks. And she's disappointed when she finds out that he doesn't do his own stunts in the movies. She goes, Rog, that's her, when he was a Viking, that was her husband's name. Rog could make that jump with no effort. And you, Miss Norse, would you need a stuntman? I? Never. And she jumps across there. And the guy who discovered her is working as her manager goes, poor, beautiful throwback. She's not good enough for you, meaning Rog, the guy she thinks is Rog. If I wasn't an old man, he's too old. He knows she wouldn't be attracted to him. So this guy owes gambling debts, even though he's an actor of some sort. Who knows how famous he is? I don't know. But some gangsters come while they're trying to have dinner at a fancy nightclub, and he has to run away. He slams the door and goes screeching off, leaving her behind because she wants to fight. Swine, if you won't fight them, I will. And she beats up the gangsters. Then she comes back home and finds him with other women. And it looks like she's going to throw him out a window or something, but instead she just tosses him at the other women. And then her benefactor is here, and they find her. She's gone into a meat locker so that she would freeze. I don't know if that's the same as being stuck in a block of ice for hundreds of years. But she looks so peaceful, as though she were asleep. She's holding a note. I go to find the real Rog, and don't thaw me out again. So, and then there's a story here about a female pirate. I'm going to go through this. There's a guy that looks like Conan the Barbarian in this story. And where are all the real men at? She's not impressed with Conan the Barbarian. As a matter of fact, she ends up kicking him in the balls and running off. And of course, she does have to be topless for these adventures. And she heads off to sea again with a... There's a pinup by Trina. So they got somebody great to do the cover. I mean, that's a great cover. That looks like an old, it's got a man having to be saved by this barbarian, and he's kind of got, an Earl Flynn kind of look to him or something, but and he looks like he's pretty well built, but he's got to have that barbarian, I think it's probably this one because she's got kind of modern clothes on, but I can't be sure. But he's looking to be saved by a woman. And then here's another Larry Sidebottom. He's the guy who did that inside cover. And it looks like this is, here it says California Comics. But that's not on the outside of the book anywhere. And it says Barbarian Comics #3. And it's I don't know, is he a wizard or what he is? There's a Coke machine there with a lot of skulls around it. And his penis is a snake. And there's an alligator there. Great cover there. And then there's the kind of sexy back cover. So I think that's a good one. If you see this one around, I don't know if there were any other issues. If anybody knows anything about that, please let me know. Then we have New Funny Book. I'm not going to go through this one quite as much. This is #3. This has a cover by the same person who did this one, I believe. Nestor Redondo, who was he's a guy who did art. He did artwork for the majors, I believe. I know I've seen this art on... maybe not a major. Maybe it was one of the bigger independents. I know that I've seen this guy's art before. Sorry, I'm not going to stop and look this up. I have a lot of books to get through here today. And this is the symbol for the comics company. And this is Larry Fuller Presents. And New Funny Book 3. And this is LF, so it stands for Larry Fuller. It says, man's fascination for the graphic art form goes back to when he would crudely draw on the walls of his cave. Drawing is one of the most primitive and natural human instincts. There is hardly a child today who, before the age of reason, does not reach out for the colored crayons to record his first visual impressions and later his first imaginings. I won't read the whole thing. As this book goes to press, plans are already in the works for the 4th issue. Again, this is the only, I think this is the only issue. If in one of my later boxes I run across something like, there might be more Barbarian. Barbarian Women. I enjoyed the heck out of that. Maybe for all the wrong reasons, but I enjoyed it. I probably would have looked for more of those, but if I do have it, I don't remember it, but anyway, this one has it's a hodgepodge of funny ones, sci-fi. I can't say that I was really impressed with a lot of this. This artwork here is kind of cool. It's trying to look like older. It's trying to call back to older. This is the one. This is Lardo Comics. I swear I might have this, and these are funny ones, and they're drawn really well. This guy, maybe in some other of the undergrounds, there's more of this guy's work. I have more of it. I generally like this. I like how ugly his main character is. Is it hilariously funny? No, but I just like the artwork. And here's something that was obviously inspired by the spaghetti westerns. Um, you know, this is kind of like Django Unchained, where he turns up with but instead of a Gatling gun, it looks like he's got, I don't know what the hell it is. It looks like he's got a rapid fire. I don't think this is supposed to be a whole bunch of muzzles. I think it's supposed to be he's spraying them. But look at the size of it looks like mortar shells or something. There's some more of this Western stuff. This is a very unfunny comic. This was not. This is, it's interesting art. You can always find something to like about the artwork, but I don't remember being that taken with that. There's some more Lardos. And here's another Western. Oh. This guy, he gets him to eat so much that then he can prick him with a pin and he blows up. But it was all just a dream. Another Western. Yeah, I'm not sure who was going to buy this comic and be impressed with this guy kills this monster to get to this egg, which is going to give him immortality. But when he eats it, he turns into nothingness. Another sci-fi one. Yeah, this is by the guy who did Nardo, but it's not him. And this looks like a regular underground kind of stuff. So anyway, I just decided to show this one because the cover and because these four were the only real independence kind of things in here. This is Weird Fantasies, obviously a takeoff on the EC Comics. This is published by the Los Angeles Comic Book Company. Now, just because I don't recognize Los Angeles Comic Book Company doesn't mean I might not have some other things by them. I don't recognize it offhand, but I might have some more of these. They obviously had a budget to hire some people that these other companies didn't have, because it starts off with a Color Corbin book, a comic rather. It's a fun one. It's it's fun because of Corbin's art. It's not top tier Corbin, but these people they're being warned. They found this ancient ruin, and they're being warned not to. What's weird is this statue. The eyes to me look like those are sunglasses, and then this guy's wearing these shades, and you see I'm not sure. It just looks like an unusual drawing. So there's someone guarding it, warning them not to go in, and this guy looks, he's obviously got what looks like a plague. The guy ends up, the woman ends up shooting him, saving the guy. They enter, and then the guy immediately turns. He's got the plague. He's even worse than the guy who's there, and so she kills him. And then she goes, "He touched my shirt. I got to get it off." Thank you, Corbin. Corbin was fan service before I knew what fan service was. I only heard the term fan service when I was learning about manga, but this is definitely fan service because it's that's a lame excuse for her to take her top off. But you see the usual. Corbin draws great, disgusting, rotting bodies and stuff, and that's how fast it's dissolving. And then it turns out that it's the gold itself which has the plague. I mean, not the plague. It's really, so here it is. The secret of the disease. There's radioactive isotopes in here, Lena. The radiation has caused some simple bacteria to mutate into a horrible plague germ. It wiped out the civilization. It is only held in check by the remoteness of this location. We're doomed. So she's already done for. And he goes, I'm not strong enough to open the door, Lena. My love, and if you touch anything, you'll contract the disease. Don't postpone the inevitable. Let us die together in an embrace. I just wanted the gold. You know, this kind of thing where you discover the ancient treasure and something bad happens. I mean, for God's sake, that's been done so many times. But, you know, God. You know, it's Corbin. This is when he was, you know, he would do some of these things under the name Gore. It says 72, so that's an early one. Then there's this one, Aussie, which is kind of goofy. This looks like regular underground kind of stuff. You know, the artwork, not something I'm crazy about. You know, and it's just a little funny comic. This one, Moonchild, it stars as sexy little aliens having adventures. This looks like Keen, you know, the big eyes and everything that were popular at the time. It looks like a sexed up version of those characters, and I think it's funny. I like looking at this. I like this artwork. I think it's really cute and really pin-up-y, which I like. So I enjoyed this one. I don't have the setup to really get all of it on the page at one time. And of course, for some reason, her top pops open. And then there's a couple little, you know, throughout there's some weird little aliens. This looks like the George Powell version of the War of the Worlds monster there. And this character's name is Starflake. And I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, she reunites with her friend. It's all good. The life battery. This is very much those the underground guys who were influenced by the EC artists, and people have once again took something they shouldn't from an ancient tomb, and but it doesn't extract its revenge until they've taken it back to the museum. And then there's a lot of talk. So it's very average. Way too much talking for a horror story. And then there's a nice cover. Anyway, those are the 4 independents that were in there. I may or may not do a video on the other comics that were in this box. You'll just have to watch the channel and find out.